Now, we all know about the app revolution that has come hand in hand with the growth of smart devices, smartphones and tablets. What we wanted to talk to you about today was a little bit about how to make a successful app. We get plenty of emails from you about what is the rules behind doing that, how do you make an app that resonates with people that love apps around the world, not just within Australia. So to help us do that is Josiah Humphrey. He is the co-founder and managing director of Appster. How are you, Josiah?
I'm really good. How are you guys?
Good. Now, you're an app development expert, so you are all things apps, correct?
Yeah, I guess you could call me something like that.
Well, there you go. Well, now, look, just talk to me about probably the most recent popular or viral hit in the app world. That was Flappy Bird. It arrived and then it sort of disappeared quite quickly, didn't it?
That's right. It was actually taken down. The developer himself said that he took it from the App Store. No one really knows why that was the case, but it has been removed, and now people can't download the game, unfortunately.
When it arrived, I mean, I saw it on a What's Trending blog somewhere, and I downloaded it a few days after it came out. I found it to be the most annoying thing I'd ever done on my smartphone, and I personally could not see anybody who would get enjoyment or would want to use this app more than once because it was so annoying. Yet it went on, was incredibly successful.
Very true, very true. It's a lot of people have been talking about it here at Appster and saying, how do we make the next Flappy Bird and things like that. And I don't really think there's necessarily a exact formula to do that. But one thing that we talk about, it's something that we sort of work clients through in workshops that we do here, but we call it habitual dependence. And it's really how do you create almost like a psychological dependence within an application. And Flappy Bird has become successful because it really has a form of that, which we sort of call level progression, where, you're constantly trying to beat the score. And because, I feel like because of how ridiculously hard it is, I mean, I've played it. I think the best I ever got was 20, and supposedly that's a good score.
Yeah.
But it's just so ridiculously hard that the way that this app sort of took off, through social media and things like that, because roughly around 70 to 80% of apps are found socially now. So you'll see now that not many apps are actually found by people searching on the App Store. Most are found socially. This thing just took off like wildfire because people were complaining about it. I believe it had been on the App Store for a lot longer previously, but somehow it had ended up just taking off. And you would see people all over Facebook and Twitter saying, hey, I hate Flappy Bird, or for whatever reason, maybe posting their score to brag, and that's how the thing just went nuts. And I think, at the peak, it went to roughly around 50 million downloads globally. Who knows what it would have been now if they hadn't taken it down? Who knows? And
just to update where that app is at, they've taken it off the various app stores, but if you've still got it on your device, you can play it, right?
That's right. You can still play it if you've downloaded it previously, but you see some phones and things. People are selling some of their phones on eBay with Flappy Bird for $1,000.
Don't buy it. Just don't do it to yourself. That's unbelievable.
Exactly.
$1,000. It's a value-added piece of a smartphone, having Flappy Bird on there. So, look, let's talk about apps then. I mean, do Australia create apps as well as the rest of the world, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some incredible success stories come out of here. You've got Half Brick, the guys that did Fruit Ninja.
Yep.
Firemint is another games company here that was acquired by EA. So, I believe we do have some really, really incredible, innovative talent and people that are coming up with some great ideas, and we can definitely compete on a global scale, that's for sure. In terms of innovation, we definitely can.
In terms of creating an app, and we talked a little bit earlier about making it to be a viral hit, but not every app is destined to be a viral hit. For example, NetBank from CommBank, that's not going to be a viral hit. It's got a very different rule set that goes about it. How do you find out, or how do you start the process behind creating your app and deciding where its life is going to take it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think this is maybe something for listeners to understand the reality of, it's not necessarily, that your idea is going to be a guaranteed success. In fact, the likelihood of success on the App Store is actually very, you've got very slim chances. But I think if you can try and create the foundation for, taking what is a good idea and adding the elements, like I said before, around habitual dependence, certain things where you can sort of make people sort of depend and want to come back and use the app all the time. And there are a lot of different ways to do that, as well as looking at, we call it social connection strategy, but how can you potentially use your user base and almost make them like a free marketing department for you. And like I said before, apps are found socially now. That is the number one way that apps are found. So you want to have people speaking about it. And, you spend your time, you build a quality product, sometimes that's going to happen. Obviously, the chances are very slim. But, if you put the right foundation in place, there's always a chance that you can do that. I think the biggest thing that you can do is build something that's outstanding, build something that's world-class. And, obviously that alone in itself, you build a good product, people are going to talk about it.
As an app developer, have you ever had people come to you with an app idea that you've said, don't do it?
All the time. Yeah. We probably hear, at Appster at the moment, we probably hear about, I'd say like 100, 150 ideas a week, and a lot of them are, most of them are bad, and we're pretty honest when it comes to telling clients, no, please don't pursue this.
And is that just because it's going to be a waste of their time and money, or do you think they could do it better?
Well, that's the thing. It's not necessarily, it takes quite a lot of investment to do something like this. Minimum for us, the minimum project we take on is, starting from 30 to 50,000, and there's a lot of time that goes into it as well. Some people think, an app costs a couple of grand and it can be done in a couple of weeks. Not true, the smallest time frame we would take on is maybe a 3-month project, and there's a lot of effort. We actually relate it to almost like building a house. There's a lot of work that goes into it hours-wise that could relate to actually building a house.
So, Josiah, look, is it better if you are building an app to look at an advertising revenue model or a cost per purchase revenue model? What's your opinion there?
Yeah, well, what you're asking about, I guess, is monetization, and there are a lot of different models. You said advertising, which in a lot of cases can be sometimes a freemium model where someone will download an app and they would have advertising. What we've sort of found, and this is just my honest opinion on the App Store and the ecosystem and the trends that I've seen over the last, say, maybe 5-6 years, is that, I don't want to say like the gold rush is over or anything, but there's a lot of apps that, games and entertainment-based things where, you'll charge 99 cents, or maybe you'll have a freemium model where you do advertising. And what we're seeing is that's becoming a lot harder and a lot harder to do because there's just so much competition out there, though. There's so many people that are building those types of apps. And I think what we're sort of directing people and trying to educate them and help them understand is that, more moving towards a model of building a platform, or almost like, you're building a startup where you're actually trying to deliver value and build a business around it is sort of the trend of what we're sort of advising clients or just people to move towards. And that's not to say that you can't, based on the old model of, charging 99 cents for an app or using a freemium model with advertising, still do really well. And we've got clients that are, still doing gangbusters like that. But we found that, really trying to focus on building more like platforms or, working with startups, that's sort of been more of a place where you can create I'd say lasting revenue and actually start trying to build a business from this thing.
Well, it is an interesting space, Josiah, and I could talk to you all day. But if listeners want to get in touch with you, if they've got an app idea, they want to throw it at you and see if it's got some legs to it, how do they do that?
All they have to do is hit us up at Appster, appster.com.au. And, we'll at least tell them if we think their idea is good or not. We're pretty blunt about it as long as they can.
It sounds good. It's great to talk to you. Josiah Humphrey, co-founder and managing director of Appster there, a local development house for apps and one of the better ones, actually. So we really appreciate his time today.